subject people to roasts, and that's because hangings are illegal. I probably could start backwards because, you know, Gary Arman called me up today and said he was sicker than a dog. He didn't know whether he could make the meeting tonight. That if he could, he was going to try to, but he didn't think he was going to make it. Unfortunately, he did. And I want you to know that he makes fun of my bear, or my Christmas toy, my doll, whatever. I'm the only person who's been ready for Christmas for 10 years in a row. Signaling always drives by my house and says, "When are you going to put Christmas lights up?" I've got the bear out. Doesn't make any difference. I asked Gary Arman to speak tonight because, you know, I thought I could do something for his political future. We've had a number of discussions in the past about him running for the city council. Gary's good looking, charming, and supposedly smart. He'd be a perfect person for that. I appreciate Mike Inger being here today, but Gary's been siding with Mike over the last few years. And I think part of the reason was that he just didn't want to get elected. Now having heard what he had to say about me and my Christmas presents, I guess, Mike, I support you more all the time. I'd like to thank my brother-in-law for coming down and speaking. Gary and I go back a long time, and one of my concerns was the fact that, as many of you know, I don't drink anymore. I don't drink for health reasons, but Gary and I, when he was playing football, or just got done playing football, did have some very interesting trips because two guys without jobs. He was done playing professional football, and I was on a federal program. We went up and did the Apple River Tube one year, and I wanted to prove to him that I could outdrink him, and I did. The rest of the story will not be told. I was hoping, and I guess I'm in a little trouble there, that he was a lineman for South Dakota. He was a little All-American. You know, I brag about it all the time. He really doesn't care. But I think it's because I was hoping tonight that he'd had enough concussions that he couldn't remember what happened to him. Senator Rosen, thank you very much for being here today and saying some kind words. You know, being a Hawkeye fan makes me appreciate Senator Rosen's situation. She's a minority in the legislature, and I'm a minority in Minnesota. Neil, first of all, I'd like to say, seriously, thank you. We've had 25 good years, and I appreciate it. I'm sure Bill will do an extremely good job. I think we've been very happy with the direction DevCom's going, but I want to tell you that I can't thank you enough for the 25 years we've had together. It's been a hoot. We've met a lot of nice people. We've done a lot of nice things, and I appreciate it very much. I do apologize for the fact that Neil had to have his both knees replaced because he's been carrying a load for a long time. In that direction that he had that done. I was hired by Neil because Sue was upset because Bill did not have a father. Neil was going to meetings all the time, and I think Bill was 11 or 12 years old at that time, and every day Neil would be going to the Twin Cities. So they saw a individual walking down the street with a back brace on, and Neil realized that was me and felt sorry for me, and also knew that he got a tax credit for hiring me, which he took advantage of, and we've been able to make the most out of that credit for a number of years. Neil, I would add, one of the nice things about Neil is I think I can say on my hand, Neil's only been mad about 5 times, and we've done a number of things together, some of which I reported to him, but Neil has gout, and I just want to point out to you that if Neil ever has gout, just between you and I, he has no sense of humor. The other one, and I appreciate Rick Ekstrand's here. Rick and I one time found a business in Sioux City that we thought would be great for Blue Earth. It was a call center, and Rick flew down, and Neil and Rick and I flew down to Sioux City, and we met with this company. This is going to bring us, I suppose, 10 or 20 jobs to the city of Blue Earth. And so Rick and I sat down, and for the first hour, we told this guy what a great company BevCom was, and what an opportunity it was to come to Blue Earth, Minnesota. Finally, after a half hour, 45 minutes, the guy got up to make copies of something, and Neil leans forward and he says, just between you and I, he's trying to sell us, we're not trying to sell him. Would you two shut up? So the guy comes back, and here's Rick with his hands in his lap, and me and my hands in the lap, being as quiet as we could be. Needless to say, we didn't go through with it. It was a bad decision, but it was an example of where you don't, sometimes you just shut up when you should just listen. Listen very well. And then the one that I always loved was, we had had some dealings with the company, and the other company basically said to us one time that we weren't man enough to do this. So I thought, this is a good argument for me. I'm going to go into the office and I'm going to say to him, we're not going to do this because we're not man enough. So I walked in and I said to Neil, they don't think we'll do it. They don't think we're man enough to do this. And Neil looked at me and said, don't ever use this man stuff on me. I said, give me a good business reason to do it. Don't use this man crap on me ever again. So, and then I would add that there's two girls that came into Ankeny's that now believe that Neil Eccles and Rob Hammond invented the internet and wireless. It lasted a whole day until they brought their mother in and she corrected us. Which brings us to Larry Anderson. He has the grace of the swan, the wisdom of an owl, and the eye of an eagle. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Anderson's for the birds. Neil and Larry have been good friends for a number of years, and in fairness to Neil, he and Sue have done everything in their power to kind of bring up a Norwegian stature. So they took Larry to a ballet. Shortly after the ballet started, Larry leans over to Neil and says, why do they have to stand on their toes? Couldn't they just get tall girls? Larry, like myself, is retiring this year, and one of the nice things about the fact that Larry's retiring is just knowing that now when I go down to Frost, and my brother-in-law's had breakfast down at Frost, I recommend that if you ever get a chance, it's a great place to have breakfast. But the intellectual discussion sometimes lacks when you're down at Frost. No offense to the people from Frost. But I can tell you right now, most people, except for Larry and Rob, are the only two that care about analyzing the plots at Gilligan's Island. And we talked about clothing. Mr. Arman, I assume you lost your tie clip. It would have been nice if you could have worn it just like I did, but this is part of the uniform. But in closing, I would like to say, first of all, I'd like to thank a number of people who made this possible. I'd like to thank the Chamber. The Chamber put this together, but also Amy Schonburn, the ladies at City Hall have helped, and that is very much appreciated. I think this is a nice way to kick off the foundation and make that happen. I'd like to thank Steve Dalton for filming this today. My family and friends that are here, I thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It's been a good 14 years, and it's been a good 25 years at BevCom. I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of good city administrators that do a good job. I would also like to say that I've been happy and honored to work with the employees of the city of Blue Earth. We've always heard jokes about city employees, but I take great pride in the job that the employees for the city of Blue Earth have done. I'd like to specifically thank Sue, Nancy, and Bonnie at City Hall for all that they've done in the last few years. We've been together effort not being there. I'll miss the opportunity to see them. Again, I'd like to thank the Eccles family for the opportunity to work for you. My secretary, Don, is here. I think Neil and I can say that we've appreciate the job that you've done, Donna. It's very much appreciated, even though once in a while the guy that doesn't have the great sense of humor comes in and complains, and you have to do a bunch of tasks that are sometimes difficult to do when you don't get good instructions. I appreciate what you've done for me over the years. And I don't have gout. Sometimes you think I have gout. And more importantly, I'd like to thank the community. To be honest, it's been fun being mayor. It's been an honor to do that. I've enjoyed working with legislators, the county board. I'd like to also recognize Tom Warmka. Tom has for years told people that if people say we get along, that he won't get elected in Easton anymore. So we do get along fairly well, and I appreciate all that you've done for veterans. I think everybody that I've dealt with in the city governments and the like have their heart there, and they need their support. And last but not least, I would hope that those of you that have volunteered would continue to volunteer. We need people on committees. We need people that make the fire departments, the EMTs, and the city organizations and churches continue to go and operate, and that takes volunteers. And for those of you that have done that, thank you very much, and I would hope that you continue to do that in the future. And thank you very much for a great time. Thank you.